Okay, so here's the syllabus for this course. This is EDLE 6083. The class schedule, as you know, we have 3 face-to-face sessions that we're going to incorporate into this semester, and those are coordinated with the other class that you're taking. Those are February 6th, March 6th, April 17th. So we want to make sure we got those set up right from the beginning. And this is not correct. That has not been updated. I think most of you know what my email address is, so we will change that. Also, there's my office number and my cell phone number, and that is 940. You're all welcome to text me at any point if you want to. When you do that, please be sure to put your name on there so I know who it is that I'm talking to. So that's just some real quick contact information. I think I said in my introduction video, if there's something that you need pretty urgently, use that email address or call me at either of those numbers, text me. If you rely on the email through D2L, I'll look at it, but it may not be on the timeline that you're hoping for. So other than that, what is this course about? Well, this course is an overview of what your research projects will be about. And this is really, it's an introduction to quantitative methods, qualitative methods, and is the first point at which we're going to start constructing the dissertation and practice. The dissertation practice is the overarching project that you will work towards. So Dr. Acuna and Dr. Brasher and I talked about how we wanted to structure this, and it's important to us that we start everybody off in such a way that we ensure a likelihood that you're going to be able to complete this. So what we're going to do in this class is talk about all the tools that go into researching a problem of practice through what we're going to refer to in this program as improvement science. So it's all the things about sample size and validity, instruments, experimental designs, output, well, not as much output data, but what it is that you can do with that information, as well as some examples of qualitative studies, because most of your studies will have a qualitative aspect to them in terms of trying to find out some information from a district about what is required of you. So to that end, as you can see, this course has some overviews here. It's really trying to get you to understand all of the things that go into designing a research study, getting better at reading research, because you are going to have to read quite a bit of research to construct your review of literature, which is one of the parts of this course. So I'm not going to go over these course objectives. You can read those as you need to. One of the things I do want to reiterate, and we sent this out as an email, is an absence policy. This is an odd kind of delivery model in that we have a hybrid part to it where we have a face-to-face session. So again, Dr. Brasher and Dr. Acuna and I talked about what is reasonable given that we only have 3 of those sessions for each class. So what we came up with is this attendance policy. Now, we all understand that we have professional and personal lives that we're going to have to deal with, but you also need to understand that all of us did too when we're going through this same process, and most of us were driving anywhere from 60 to 100 miles. Dr. Acuna was flying to another country to do this. So we're going to hold pretty steady on this. We've tried to be very upfront about the class meetings, these up here, so that you can plan accordingly. Very quickly, I'll tell you, when I was a doc student, I was a principal and was going to school full time. I had to take a Saturday class, and I was also going through the TEPSA Academy, which I thought were both important experiences. So when I was picking my classes, I chose Saturday classes that would not interfere with the TEPSA experience because my district was spending a lot of money for that. And signed up. We had 5 Saturday meetings, got the class started, signed up, and at the end of the first class, the professor says, oh, by the way, I'm going to change one of the time meetings because that one of the Saturdays crosses over with Easter vacation. And if you miss a Saturday, then you have to take the final exam. Well, this is after the schedule had already been established. Well, the Saturday that she wanted to move to was the Saturday that I was at TEPSA. So I thought, well, there's nothing I could do about it. I need this person on my committee. So rolled around, got to the end of the semester, missed one Saturday, had to take the final exam. She said, you have to take the final exam. You need to read this book and do a 20-page paper on it. So I did that. Came back in for the last class meeting, handed her my paper, and she said, oh, Matt, you didn't have to do that. She said, your grade's so high that you didn't have to take the final exam. I said, but you told us if we missed a Saturday, we have to take the final. She said, well, yeah, but your grade's high enough. You still are going to get an A even without taking the final. I could have killed that lady, and I would have had I not needed her on my dissertation. So I've always been very conscientious about trying to be transparent when we set those dates and don't move them around, because I don't want things like that happening to you, like what happened to us. And we all have war stories about that, but nonetheless, that's really important to me. Grades. There are two tests in this course. There's a midterm, and it'll be kind of a take-home, open book, essay sort of test, a final, and then your review of literature. I don't believe in comprehensive finals. So when we get down to this part of what this class is about, you can see what's going to happen, what will be on the midterm, what will be on the final. One of the things I need to point out is this review of literature. That has a due date that's towards the end of the semester as well. And I'll get into more detail about that review of literature, what's expected, as we move into the first part of establishing your question. Written work. Excuse me. It has to be an APA 7th edition. You do not have to buy an APA manual. It might be a good idea at this point because you are going to, everything that you're going to write is going to be APA, but you don't have to do it. There is a way to do it with just looking everything up through Google. There's a lot of students I have at the master's level that they never buy a book, and it works out just fine. But I will tell you this, grammar, writing style, professional writing style matters. You're working at the highest level of education now, and the way that you write is a reflection of your ability to think and a reflection of your professionalism. So we'll have a short session at one point on writing style at this level, but it's important to do that. One of the things I want you to notice is there's not a rough draft that goes into this. At this point, you're expected to be able to write in a professional manner. That being said, I also want you to understand that professional writing takes multiple drafts to be able to get it right. That is your responsibility to be able to get through that. I can give you advice. I'll give you some guidelines about how to do it. But what you might have experienced in intro to research, where you turn in a rough draft and somebody does a lot of editing for that, and then you go back and you do it again, we're kind of beyond that at this point. Other issues in here to pay attention to is professional ethics, ADA compliance. The videos that we have should, if I can make this work, have closed captioning on those. The things that you need to turn in, they need to be turned in through D2L. I don't take late work. I've never taken late work. It's not accepted for any reason. We may be flexible about the due date depending on what's going on, but once it's done, it's done. Once it's due, it's due. That's it. And there is no extra credit ever for any reason. The reason for that is my experience with extra credit is people do that. If they've got a D and they need extra credit, they do D quality work on extra credit too. A couple of other things when we're in class, the Saturday classes, if you've got an issue that comes up at school that you need to deal with, it's fine. Just go outside and deal with it. That's not a big deal to me. If for some reason we have snow or ice, February 6th, we will follow the inclement weather policy and I'll work this out with Dr. Brasher. We'll probably just cancel that session because it's so hard to reschedule this for y'all. So that's kind of an overview of this. So moving into the modules, I want to set the course up in D2L just like this schedule. Everything's set by module. There will be a lot of material that goes into these modules. One of the things that you need to do for this course is you can see which chapters out of the book that these cover. It is assumed that when you're working on the modules associated with this and all the material that goes with it, that you have read everything in that chapter that goes with that. What we're doing in this class is it's not as much as I'm teaching you exactly what's in that book, it's teaching you how to use the information that's in there. So when we get to something like tests and measurements, it's not that I'm going to describe to you what a t-test is. I'm going to assume that you've read that and understand that, and you're going to be able to do something with that. Now, all that being said, all the coursework, as I told you on the other video, will be posted in D2L. We're going to use a lot of Google Sheets where you can work together. I will randomly assign everybody to groups. We have 17 people, so we'll probably have 5 groups, 4 in each group, and one that will have 5 in that group. And we'll let those run for a little while, and then I'm going to reassign groups later on in the semester just to get you used to working with some other people that you might not know. Last couple of things very quickly. I do not want D2L to get in the way of your learning. It's been a while since I've taught an online course. I was told Dr. Curry it's been 10 years since I've taught an online course because, quite frankly, it's really hard to do. As dean, it's hard for me to find the time to do that. So if something's not going right with that, I'm not going to let this interfere with it. If for some reason you're struggling with D2L, get in touch with me. Email me at my MSU email address, and we'll work through that. But we're not going to let this get in the way of it. Everything, in theory, ought to layer really well from the course home. You go through the content. I'll assign exactly what I want you to do for each of these things, and we'll hope for a good semester. If there is questions that you have about that, I will post a discussion thread on here about syllabus and course expectations, and if you need to post a question there, feel free to do that, and we'll address it there because you may have the same question everybody else does. Beyond that, we will see you for the next part of these modules. Thank you.